Hello, April. Now we are live, and I'm so excited and happy to have you here because I think you are one of my most the best ego supporter there is. So April, I met her for a couple of years ago, and she invited me to be on her podcast, and she's really successful with her podcast. Lots of interesting stuff there, and she chose the topic, and that was about the ego. So, and here she is, and we'll let you know everything she and why she loves the ego, and hopefully she will tell us a little about her, one of her driving force, that's the dictator. But first, April, can you check in and let us know what you think about the ego, because you had lots of good stuff to say about the ego.
Well, the ego is fascinating. And every time I hear someone say something negative about the ego, I get all tight because they don't know that the ego is your friend.
Yeah,
It is a driving force within itself. It
yeah,
nurtures, fosters the soul. It is engaging, it's loving, it's manipulative, it's powerful if you just know how to engage it and use it. And I am a lover of the ego.
yeah. I know.
Mhm.
And so, how do you? If we start a little from the beginning, do you remember how your reactions when when we start to find your first driving force that I actually think was the dictator? Do you
I was
remember
a
how
nervous
it
wreck.
was?
I was a nervous wreck, but I was excited at the same time because I dig dictators. Yes, I do. Spider brains.
Yeah, spider brains.
I really do, and it's not because of what they do, but it's how they do it, how
Okay.
they are able to command and drive and influence and motivate, encourage, distract only by
Yeah.
the sound of their voice. You see what's happening here now in the United States.
Yeah.
No one has dropped a bomb.
No.
No one has pulled a gun. No one has cursed
Mm,
us out. But
no.
outside influences from around the world that are known dictators have absolutely turned the United States upside down.
Yeah.
You look at people like Kim Jong Un.
Hmm.
You look at people like Hitler. No,
Yeah.
they're not great people, but the mindset, but the way that they are able to encourage people and to get people to
Yeah.
follow them, I find
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating. And so
Yes.
as I started to discover this and work more on my spider and work with Brigitte, I noticed that that is a trait of mine. What?
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
scary. So much so that I gave myself a spider nickname. I am the Black Widow.
Yeah, oh, I just love that nickname. It's
And I
the Yeah, you are the Black Widow, and it's so fantastic. Yeah. So what was the change for you when you start to use your dictator? So how could you work? How do you use? Wait, let me rephrase it. So how do you use your dictator when you are working on your to manifest your intention in your spider leg? So how is the practical use of it?
the practical use of it is really, I kind of look at what my driving force is. How
Mm-hmm.
am I an influencer? And how can I use my powers for good and not evil? How can
Yeah,
I dictate and direct in a positive way? How
yeah,
can I use that influence, that power, that charge? How can I get people to follow me in the right
yeah,
direction? So, a dictator can show up in many different forms, but I
yeah,
choose to show up positive. I choose to show up as an influencer and a game changer.
yeah,
I want to be motivated. I want to motivate, and I want to be inspired. And that's what dictators do. They get people
yeah,
fired up.
yeah. Yeah, you really you get the you get people fired up. And I also remember in the process that something's happened because suddenly you could say no to certain people you didn't want to have, even if it was in your project, in any kind of project.
Right. Well, I put myself in a season of no. A lot of people put themselves in a season of yes. And
Yeah,
I know you kind of looked at me kind of like, well, that doesn't really kind of seem like your personality because you're for it. But I had to offset that. I had to find a balance. I had to be able to say no as well as receive no. No
Yeah.
is only a two-letter word. And if you look at it in the mirror, it means on
Yes.
to the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's nothing that was negative, but it was something that I had to do. And I found such favor in that. I found such balance and such harmony because even being in a dictator mode,
Yeah.
a lot of people are not going to go along with you. They're not going to agree with you. So I had to be able to accept that as well.
Yeah.
And that was some of the things I uncovered.
Yeah, exactly. And what's happening when you start to say no to things that are not supposed to be where you are, you get even a bigger flow in your project and in your life. And this has been something that I've been impressed of in the process working with you when you have had your downloads. You know, when I get to chat, oh, I got the downloads again. Oh my God, what has she done now? So can you let us know? Because I think that's interesting to know how
Well, I
it
will
starts.
share,
No.
I'll share something with you that me and Brigitte shared a download. Remember
Ah,
that?
oh,
Remember that? That was
you
right.
tell them.
It was pretty amazing. I had a dream, and Brigitte had the same dream, and we were
Yeah.
both in each other's dream, and we met at a certain place. And at that place, we did not connect. We were driven to go in two separate directions, but those two separate directions had us headed in a I don't know what you call it, but it was strange when I gave her the information during one of our sessions that I had, and she says, I had the same dream. I was there.
You're
So
right.
that
I
lets
get goosebumps.
you,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so that lets you know that we are harmonious and that we are in sync, and that this life spider is really a connection among people in this
Yeah.
universe. We're not here alone. We're not separate. We are very connected. And when
Yes.
I get the downloads, it's amazing. It's undeniable. I had
Yeah.
another download of three doors, three
Yeah.
colored doors, and we talked about going through those doors.
Yeah.
About 3 days later, I'm driving down the street. I promise you, there were those three doors in three
Yeah.
different.
You sent me the picture. I
I have
remember.
the picture, and I
Yes.
was asked to go through those doors, but I
Yeah.
wasn't ready.
No.
I wasn't prepared, and I came back to the group and I talked to Brigitte and our other two team members, my cousin and my friend.
Mm.
They couldn't believe it. It was an aha moment. And now I am able to walk through those doors with
Yeah.
grace, with power, with strength, creating my own web in a very dictatorial way.
Yes, you do. And I must say, if I didn't say it, you look gorgeous. You are so cool, April. And what I think, what you are saying now, it's important to let people know. So what's happening when you release and embrace your ego, that is a catalyzer for your core energy, your essence, and it's kind of pump out the energy to your intentions. So actually the way to a higher consciousness, to the metaphysical world, or you call it the spiritual world, is actually through the ego. And
Mhm.
what I think it's so misunderstood out there is that you reach the higher consciousness and receive those downloads, but only to meditate and be good. But as long as you suppress your ego, there is a lid on the real information that's in your essence. So to, if anyone wants to become more spiritual and have those kind of downloads and connections, it's like you connect on a broadband instead of a little tiny modem, and there is no connection. So it's actually, the world will be more spiritual by embracing the ego. Or what do you think? What's your thoughts about
Well,
that?
I think they'll be a lot less fearful too.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
opening up yourself to expand your capacity, to expand your bandwidth. What I
That's
found very
bandwidth.
fascinating through this whole process too is that there are 6 life purposes, not one.
Good.
We were
Yes.
all working on, see, teacher, I paid attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
people are just focusing on what is my life purpose instead of what are my purposes.
Oh,
You
that's so beautiful. Yes.
what is it? Is it, to be a good parent? Is it to be a good steward? Is it to be a good philosopher? Is it to be a teacher? Is it to be a feeder? What is my purpose here? And there's many purposes, and there's many ways that you can do that. Sharing and giving and communicating. You know,
Yes.
just a couple of my other driving forces was perfection.
Yeah. Okay.
And I looked at perfection in a very different way. I'm not a perfectionist, Spider Brains. I'm not.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I want to leave space for growth and development. I don't want to be perceived as being perfect. A lot of times that shows up as insecurity too. You
Yeah.
know, I want to be perfectly imperfect
Yeah.
uh, because there's so much to learn. And as I go through this journey here at this particular time in this space called life right now, I know that I am going to ascend. I know that I am going to evolve. I don't
Yes.
think that this is the end, nor
No.
was it my beginning. But I need to learn the lessons here, and I need to take those with me. And the only
Yeah.
way that I'm going to do that is to continue to do the work. And you can't do the work if you are scared.
No.
Feel the
Right.
fear and do it anyway.
No.
You know, if you are intimidated, don't be intimidated by people. Let your light shine. You are a bright, radiant star.
Yeah.
You know,
And you are
connect.
right. It's so good because the intimidation is only the ego who feel intimidated because it's so scared for its survival. So get rid of those driving force fears, make you both to do more stuff. You said you need to do what you are here, uh, what you are here to do, and for that you need your ego, and you need a strong ego because that's the one who is taking action. So I'm thinking, do you have an mention more of your driving force as an other one?
Um,
I don't
Sexy.
have your spider.
I
Yeah.
I live with my spider. I want you guys to know this is one of my blueprints for life. I keep it right here at my desk. I refer to it regularly and often. This is not a course that you take that is just something that you just throw in your drawer. This is a roadmap.
Yeah.
This is a way to navigate. This is a way to figure out when you're in an awkward space. Where might I be? What do? I look down at my spider. Wow. You know, another one that I found interesting was sexy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Yes.
I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty full and fluffy. I wasn't looking at myself sexy, but as Brigitte said, is that, you know, what does sexy mean to you? You know,
Yes.
how do you bring out that feminine essence?
Yes.
Make you feel more sexy, to share that sexiness with others. Sexiness is not just about, um, you know, having sex, but it's
No.
about feeling pretty and putting on some lipstick and feeling good about yourself and
Yeah.
warm and inviting. Do you remember when you told me that? I said, that's a
Yeah.
drug.
Oh, yes. And I remember because sometimes just this sexy thing or be beauty or beautiful or whatever, it's so connected to the physical body, and you have a kind of a model. You should look in a certain way. You should not have too much weight or too little weight. But it's not about that. It's exactly what you described. Your ego want to feel. If the ego uh, are the one who wants to be sexy, you have to just find it in the body, in the everything that you have. And yes, we can look. You have your ego, your sexy ego is with us today, April.
No,
Yeah,
no, I mean, but it did, you know, and thinking about that, when I don't feel my prettiest, I look down at my spider and I realize that I am a sexy, imperfective dictator.
yeah. It's a great combination.
You know,
Yeah.
and it is, and this is I'm telling everyone that's listening that again, this has been riveting. This has been life changing for me. You know, I've worked with some of the world's greats, okay, and Brigitte is right up there with them. You know, and when I met her, when I had an introductory conversation with her, she said, "Talk about the ego." I'm like, "Oh Lord," you know.
Yeah.
But as I got to talking to her and pulling back the layers and trying to understand, and then joining the course and bringing in my cousin and bringing in my friend and having this group, this has given me a power like no other. Okay,
No.
it's a true testimonial. And I thank you wholeheartedly for the dedication that you put in training people. And at first I was her first, I think, first African American woman,
Oh yeah, yeah, you were. Yeah. So
and my
that's
cousin was her first African American man.
yeah.
And you know what? It's a different psyche because we don't go for this. Okay, we don't.
No, it's
Ego is
correct.
what we live by. We don't do this. But to sit there with a woman from Sweden, a white woman that had never really kind of walked our walk in our journey, and
No.
to find the cohesiveness, to find the harmony, to find the peace, to find the love, I tell you, it's heartwarming. I'll never leave her. I will never leave.
No, oh,
Came here, yeah, when she came here to San Diego, I hosted an event for her and we had the best time. We went to the theater and we ate and we just connected with so many people. And everyone that was there has been forever changed because now they know how to appreciate spiders, number one,
yeah.
know how to be connected, and they are also, they're dedicated to the cause. So you are doing amazing work.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, it's a wonderful. I'm so grateful, and it's I get goosebumps. But what April is demonstrating right now, and what's happening when you expand your ego, it's when you expand and allow your ego to act, you can afford to be compassionate. The compassion in the world will increase, not until we have embraced our ego. So that's why April right now is so generous, and she wants to give me all the appreciations and everything because she wants to share, and she can afford it because she's so secure in herself with the, I mean, with your ego at first, but also with her missions in life. Her path is clear, and that means when you know what to do and you take action, you are so satisfied with yourself that you don't want to be or become somebody else, but you just want to become more of yourself. And when you are in that condition, that state of mind, you really can talk about real love. And the real love is actually real compassion, because you don't expect to get anything back. You don't do it for a certain reason. It's just something that's natural for you because you can embrace and lift up other people. So and it comes from a real authentic place. So this was such, I mean, yeah, I'm grateful for what you're saying, because my ego feels good too to hear all your nice words.
Good.
But it's even bigger because spontaneously you show what's real compassion, and that comes from the ego. And that's what I want the world to know. And that's why I'm saying it's the embracing the ego is the way to peace, because we can't reach peace in the world as long the ego is struggling to be heard. So this is so beautiful. I'm so grateful you are here and with all this talk, April.
Well, yeah, it is sincere. And again, when you look at other people, what I have also learned is that I'm able to read a room much better because now I can see the gaps and where people's egos are not being fed. And I know
Yes,
how to spoon feed them, to adjust them, to work
yes,
in my favor. Whatever they need, I'm able to see and give them what
yes,
they need. It's all right to,
yes,
if you are a person that needs attention, to give you a little extra attention.
yeah,
Your spouse, maybe your children.
yes,
It's good to know that if a person is feeling insecure, to stroke their ego and let them know. It's good to reward and recognize others. That giving allows you more space and more capacity.
yeah,
Okay. Again, that has been one of the greatest gifts also, is to be able to use my ego to adjust. I don't want to use the word manipulate because I don't want to manipulate you. I want you to want to be in that space, and I want you to receive the love that you're going to get when I give it to you,
yeah,
and to understand where you're coming from. And if we can do that as human beings and allow people that space and give them, feed them what they
yeah,
need,
yes.
we're
And
going to make it.
I just want to respond a little bit when you say manipulate. So what you actually are doing instead, it's a way, because you know the driving force, our ego is surrounded, protected by our defense mechanism system, and that's why you're pushing things away and say, I don't like this, or she's bad, and everything like that. And what you are doing by feeding their ego is kind of, you are walking behind their defense mechanism, so their ego is able to hear what you are saying and receive your words. Otherwise, and that's the reason why otherwise we are going into a conflict, because they say they don't want to listen to you. But when you give this uh, positive feedback and uplifting people, you are kind of going behind the defense mechanism, and they can share and they feel good about themselves. And then a person who feels good about themselves behave in a great way for others. And as you see, so to grow your own ego also means that you are helping other people, because you don't have to be in a conflict with other people, because you can see, oh, that person have an ego who is crying, who feel lonely, who is still in the basement. So, and by helping that person, as you do, that will feel better, and you are turning the spiral upwards instead of going into a conflict because a bad behavior. Because bad behavior is always connected to a suppressed and sad ego that just want to ask, I want to be here, but they don't know how. So that's also a beautiful thing, April. Okay, I see the time flies when you have fun. So we have always chewing up our 20 minutes, April. So my last questions for you, is there anything else you want to tell or advise the listeners?
Is just be open, you know, to new experiences, to new people, to new ideas. You cannot make a informed, conscientious decision without complete information.
No.
And you can't have complete information if you constantly edit and filter out what you don't want to hear. It hurts, it's painful, it's shocking, but it is real. It's a part of the process, it's on the roadmap. And thank you so much for allowing me to expand my ego and be the person that I'm becoming.
Yeah, it's no, it's wonderful. And again, to listen, if you have any questions and want to have a little conversation with April, I'm sure she will be in the comment and ask your questions or ask your and be in a conversation with you. So yeah, use her as much as you can with her knowledge and experience with the ego. So, and we say thank you now, April, and see you soon again, and thank you for being here.
I love
So
you.
yeah, love you too. Okay, bye
Bye.
guys.